Hello everyone, this video will cover Module 9. Module 9 is the second step of the process essay, so we're going to continue with that same topic that you came up with in the previous module, and we are going to start drafting your essay. For essays in this class, we'll spend a little bit longer on them, so instead of having just the 2 modules like you did for paragraphs, you're actually going to have 3 or 4 modules where we're going to go through the entire writing process, encouraging you to spend a lot more time revising and editing your essays. So let's take a look at what our module looks like. So the resources here are mostly review from the previous module. You can see looking at the process of writing an essay and the types of essays, the process essay. Those are all ones that we have read before. So it's just review, just as a reminder. You need to be keeping in mind what's in the textbook as well as some of these other resources that I have for you. The other thing that we're going to look at in this module is second person. So second person pronouns are often a problem in student writing because when we write, we often write how we speak. And when we speak, we're often talking to someone specific or to a specific audience. The problem is when you write, your audience is not that specific, because you can't necessarily control who's going to end up reading it. And so when you write the you in there, often we're meaning you, the person reading the essay, but since we don't necessarily know who that is, it's really hard to take that you and have it mean the same thing. And so it can be confusing in that way. So I encourage students to avoid second person pronouns entirely because it does cause a lot of problems in writing. And so you have a couple of options with the process essay. This is a big problem for the process essay in particular because students are trying to write a set of instructions instead of a process explanation. So a set of instructions is just basically going through, you do this, then you do this, then you do this. Whereas a process explanation is trying to explain what you do and why you do it when you complete this process. So you can see this sentence shows you what it would look like in second person. You should have your ingredients handy before starting. Changing it to first person makes it personal to you. I always make sure I have my ingredients handy before starting. Or you can change it to third person, which would be an outside entity, if you will. So the baker should, or the person should, or something like that would also work. Most students just use first person because they have personal experience with this process, and so they can just use first person and it makes sense to them. So part of what you're going to do for this, just learning about this, is taking a video quiz. Video quiz is a tool that we can use in Canvas. This is actually the first time I've ever had a video quiz in one of my classes, so I'm anxious to see what happens. But basically what you'll do is this is a really great video that just explains the entire reasoning behind why we have issues with second person and how to correct them. And so all you have to do is click on Get Started, and as you go through, there will be questions that pop up throughout the video, and you'll just click on true and false, or some of them multiple choice. And then when you're done with the video, then you'll be done with the quiz, and it will record your quiz result. And so we have 2 of these video quizzes in the class, so we'll see how they go. This is a little bit different as far as quizzes are concerned. The other thing that you're going to review for grammar review is verb agreement. And so this has a lot to do, they kind of go together actually, because you want your pronouns to agree. You also want your subjects and verbs to agree. You want your different verbs within a sentence to also agree. So you don't want present tense, past tense, etc., all within the same sentence. So you want everything to align with itself. So this is just more information on verb tense, and then you'll have your typical grammar quiz that we've done before. And then the last part of this module, which is going to take you the longest, is actually drafting your process essay. So the process essay, you've gotten this assignment already. You've done the pre-writing for it. You've got your plan set out. Now you need to actually draft a version of your process essay. And so this is just a reminder as to the criteria, making sure you have a thesis in your introduction paragraph as the last sentence, making sure that you have at least one body paragraph. Most students will have between 1 and 3, and then the conclusion paragraph, and making sure that you are writing it without using the second person and that kind of thing. So once you have started working on your draft, this is just a reminder of what you need in the draft itself. So you're not going to put the numbers in there. This is just kind of an overview of what you want to put in your draft to make sure that you have. Write it as an essay. Don't write it as a numbered list or something. But these are all of the elements that I'm going to be looking for, making sure that you write it in chronological order. So we're going in the order of time, making sure you have a thesis statement in there. All of that is going to be what I'm essentially going to grade your rough draft on. So once you're done with the rough draft, you're going to actually submit it to this assignment. And you'll just submit like you normally do, start assignment, submit your file. Then when you're done, I want you to go into your file and I want you to leave yourself some feedback. And these are self-editing comments. We're going to start practicing this here because you can do the same thing with the next essay, and you're also going to do it for your peers once we do our big peer edit. So this is a really useful way to provide feedback on a file that I can see, and anyone who has access to the file can see the feedback. So what happens is you've got your file submitted, then you go over here to submission details. Right here in the middle, it says view feedback. You're going to click on that, and then that will bring up your file. This is not a process essay. I just picked something random to put in here. This is just a sample I wrote for another class. But this is your file. It'll bring up, and once the whole thing loads, you should have the option to expand it. Sometimes the DocuViewer doesn't want to come up all the way. But once it comes up all the way, you should have the option to expand, and then you can use all of these tools. It's not working. But all of these little tools in here can help you to provide some feedback for yourself. So you would just leave a comment for yourself. I like the little bubble thing, but you may prefer to highlight stuff because that's helpful as well. You might like to strike out something or use this as a drawing tool. Some students like to draw on their pages, which is fine too. But basically, you leave yourself 8 little annotated comments on the side of your own essay. So basically, you're self-editing your essay, and I can go in then when I look at your file, I will see your own comments that you've created on your file. So really useful. Once you exit out of the box, then it saves. So if I close it and then I go back in to view feedback, all of that feedback is still going to be there, and I should still be able to see it. This is the same way you view feedback from your instructor. So if you are interested in or concerned about what's happened to your grade, then you hit submission details and view feedback. You'll be able to see all of this in your file. So this is just practice, mostly for getting us prepared for other assignments later on, but it's always a good idea to self-edit your own work. So you're submitting the rough draft and you're providing the feedback. That is all part of this 30-point grade. So if you just submit the draft and you don't do the feedback, then you're not going to get full points here. So that is the assignment. That's module 9. And so we're in the middle of the process essay. We'll be working on the final draft in the next unit. So just keep in mind, if you have any questions, of course, you can always send me an email. Obviously, you'll be getting some feedback in the draft itself from me. And so that should help you as you start to draft your final draft. Make sure that you're just keeping on top of things. And if you're starting to struggle or get behind, send me an email. Otherwise, have a great week.